if they say logistics was the issue with getting the team to the World Relays, I think it was in Poland, then you're saying to me, and it's a team of 39, all that says to me is that we probably need to start get planning for the
The
Olympics
Olympics
now.
now.
Because if you can't get 39 athletes
Yes.
to Poland, how will you guarantee getting a squad of so many athletes? Because it's not just track and field now.
Yeah.
It's
Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle. You can expect the latest in sports news, views, and reviews from our resident analyst. No sports topic is too controversial, and no team or player is above criticism. So just smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on our balanced offering of riveting sports content. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Welcome to Sports DTM.
Greetings, Sports DTM fans, and welcome to another episode of Sports Down the Middle, the channel of undiluted sports content. Now, competitive sports in Jamaica has endured a rocky 14 months due to the pandemic, with only a few sporting events getting approval from the authorities. Track and field has received a little boost recently with the approval of the 2020-2021 ISA Boys and Girls Champs. And we all know it was canceled in 2020. And a few Velocity Festive meets, our Velocity Fest meets. Here to talk to us about the latest development in track and field is former Wolmer's and Jamaican athlete, now sports analyst at TVJ, Dwayne Extol. Dwayne, welcome to the Sports DTM virtual studio.
Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate this opportunity. Again, as I said before, congrats on the platform and what the work you guys are doing. I really enjoy most of the content that I've been able to watch so far. I haven't seen everything, but when you have my friends on like Julian Fort and Dwayne Dillon and them people there, some have to tune in. So again, gentlemen, thank you again for having me.
Okay, tell us a little bit about Dwayne. Who is Dwayne?
Well,
for those who don't know.
As it is right now, other people, they remember me from high school. As I said, went to Wolmer's Boys School, vice captain of the Champs 100 team. We won Champs in the 100 stage.
That mysterious win.
No, you see, one thing I tell people all the time.
After 100 years.
No, it's actually after 56 years.
2,000 years later.
56? Okay.
Yeah. We won the first one and then won the 100 and won, I think, Champs 54 as well, so we didn't win until the 56 years later, but it's not mysterious when you have proper planning, when you plan properly, because that win was planned from 2006. Coaches put things in place and athletes had to stay at school, because I almost left Wolmer's, and I tell you the story all the time. I almost left Wolmer's at JC in 2008. I almost went to JC, so coach reminded me, say, have a plan for win Champs 2010, and it came to fruition. But when I left Wolmer's, I went abroad to school, University of Alabama for 2 years, and Texas Tech for 2 years. Studied electronic media broadcast journalism, got that done, and I came home because there's no place for me like Jamaica. I mean, America was fine, treated me well, had some little run-ins, but there's no place like home. And I tell people all the time, this is where I love my yard, more build my nation through helping youth, through sports, through mentorship, through nation building. I just want to help my country.
Okay, you went on a track scholarship, or you just
track scholarship, because my mother couldn't afford to send me to school. Even other day we were talking, I look back on my tuition per year was like $100,000 US per year. So 4 years of that, 400, almost 500,000 US dollars. Put that in Jamaican figures. Up to this day, still coming pay it back.
Exactly. Now put it in a Jamaican dollar.
So we don't want to. That is too much.
So I left for university after getting a scholarship. So I'm really grateful for the opportunities that track and field has presented to me. It has allowed me to travel across the world, meet new people, have some great friends. Up to this day, I'm still in contact with some great people I met through going to the Carifta Games, the World Junior Games, the World Youth Games, and then the NCAA is a different kind of atmosphere. You meet great people there as well. So yeah, man, track and field was my vehicle through life and getting my education.
I hear sometimes persons say that the US collegiate system burn out the athletes before them even turn pro. Tell us a little about your experience with that.
Well, to be honest, I agree. I can agree to some extent why people would say that because it's tough when you go to one of the
Yeah.
power conference schools like the SECs. Because I was in the SEC, the Southeastern Conference in Alabama, and those schools try to win championships. Those schools, their aim is to win championships. It doesn't matter how they do it; they just want to win championships, and it sacrifices your personal drive to become professional because as the NCAA statistics shows, it's not just track and field, it's just sports overall. Only 2% of athletes really make it to the professional ranks. So it's not just track and field, it's in American football, it's basketball, it's baseball, it's across the board. So when people say track and field, because it's dear to us, but if you look at other sports, women's football, well, women's soccer, as they call it, it's the same kind of results. Not everyone who goes to the NCAA will make it pro. But as far as track and field is concerned, I had a tough time because I had to adjust because I never got hurt while I was in high school. I never got injured because I don't know, for some reason it just never happened. But when I got to college, my first meet, I think it was February 21st indoors, early in February, New Mexico indoor track. My first time running indoors, hurt my hamstring. Never get hurt before in my life, and then from then on, it was a series of injuries and just other things that were affecting me. But, it just didn't work out that way. It didn't work out to go professional. But at the end of the day, I still was allowed to, finish my education.
So, a question we always ask our members, the persons who come on the panel, what other sports apart from track and field do you support? Talking about football, netball, tennis, jacks, dandy, shandy.
So the man walk alone in Jersey.
My.
Yeah, I love a lot of
come prepared.
Yeah, man, I came prepared. Remember, I'm watching the show and so I know the setup, So I walk in the Jersey,
Good.
Yeah, but I love all sports. I'm a Miami Heat fan in terms of basketball. I watch American football. Seattle Seahawks is my team. Russell Wilson is my quarterback. I love netball. Love the Sunshine Girls. Love them. But anytime games are being played out here, I am there. Then go in Australia, wake up early in the morning to watch them because I just love watch the Sunshine Girls play. Cricket not so much as when I was younger. My father used to force me to watch cricket. But when I watch it as much more. I mean, the West Indies are the damn thing. I really like India as a country, a cricketing country, so I enjoy watching them as well. But me, I'm all around sports. I play basketball as well while I was at Woolmans for 6 years, and I stopped because we wanted to win champs. So I played for 6 years, and then the last year, you can't play the ball. Time to just focus.
You have to focus, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yes, as you spoke about winning champs, Champs 2021 finally got the green light, as we would call it, finally. And this has been long overdue following cancellation last year and different changing dates and so on. Why the authorities took so long to approve this?
You see the thing with a pandemic, a lot of moving parts and a lot of uncertainties. Part of the reason why, because they're trying to protect lives, and I understand completely that they're trying to protect your student athletes, they're trying to protect our athletes, but they realize that if you look across the world, across the different sport track and field powerhouses, the United States, the Africans, they have resumed the sport.
Right.
If you look at some of the performances so far, like they have been competing. The NCAA is in full swing. Jamaicans competing there as well. A lot of them doing well, especially like the name of like Kerry McLeod, who's been doing well in the long and triple jump for University of Tennessee. So sports, track and field has resumed at the highest level across the world. So I think the thought process behind it is not just to secure performance from our athletes, but it's important. Champs itself is important for our student athletes to showcase their talents so scouts can see them so that they can get scholarship. Because without champs, I think a lot of them can still get scholarships. But champs is that spectacle event where scouts or coaches would come. I remember champs 2 years ago, 2019, coaches from everywhere. I remember there was a section, almost 100 coaches
Right.
from overseas came to watch our athletes. So it's an opportunity for them to be seen across the world because it's broadcast on TVJSN and One Spot Media. So they get a chance to showcase their talent. But I think part of the reason why the authorities took so long is because they weren't sure. And uncertainty brings caution. You have to be cautious when you're uncertain about certain things. But when you consult the experts, you mentioned the Velocity Fest meet, and
Right.
those meets went on. And I must commend the MVP group, Bruce James leading the charge. They hosted, I think, about 6 very good meets, and no one from those meets contracted COVID from my knowledge. The data shows that, because I've been to a track meet this week, I think it was Central Championship, and the measures are strict and rigid. Like when I got to the gate today, I almost told me that I couldn't go in. So I said, my name is on the list. And I said, well, they never get the list. When I got the list, the sanitization, then sanitize my hands, my shoes, and check my ID at the front gate. When we get to the other gate, they sanitize me again. Every time I move, there's someone standing around to say, keep a distance, sanitize, wear your mask. So they have all the protocols in place. And I'm really happy that the authorities, the health authorities, the Minister of Sports, Olivia Babsy Grange, kudos to her as well for making the step for track and field, especially at this time. We needed something to give our young athletes something to strive for and hope for.
Right. Would
So
you
as
say that they're too late in this approval? Because I don't know what would have been the delay, because I know track and field everywhere, and particularly in Jamaica, do follow protocols all of their lives, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the strictest sporting
If not the
events
strictest.
out there. So what caused, or is it too late?
No,
Is
no. And I think it gives us now an opportunity to reassess how sports, especially track and field, is run in Jamaica. So people talk about the burnout. I hear people mention burnout of the NCAAs. But when you think about champs, 5 days of competitive running, the athletes then go through rounds after rounds after rounds of high performances. And after years and years, your body kind of get worn down. So I think this year, the method that Corona has taught us about preparing our athletes is that we don't have to have the rigors of rounds at champs, because they run fast at champs. The problem we've had in years, athletes with the champs, they run some world-class times. But then we get to the international level, the under 20 games, under 18, we get 3-4 medals. The only time I think we really got a big medal count was 2013 in Ukraine with Jai Hyde and Yanni Thompson, Michael O'Hara, and them kids. And it's because of proper coaching. They were able to peak again later on in the year. I think now with what's happening, they can learn, because I've been in conversation with coaches. Coach Riley, the head of the Coaches Association, is advocating for a change in the schedule of how track and field meets are done in Jamaica. Because because athletes start training, some of them in August last year. So August, September, October, November, December, January, February, the peak in March. And then they have to peak again for the Carifta Games, peak again for the Penn Relays, peak again for the National Junior Championships, peak again for the World Junior Championships. And World Junior, and World Juniors goes up to June. So when June is done, because I remember when I went to the World Youth Games in the Czech Republic, I didn't get done competing until June. And by the time I got back to Jamaica, most of my teammates had started training. So
okay.
I hadn't gone to the World Youth Games, I would have been back in training already. So what it is now is that it shows that you don't have to start training so early, because if you want peak performance, what the aim is to continue Jamaica's tradition as a powerhouse in track and field. But as it stands right now, we're world number 3 in track and field.
Right.
So in order for us to continue along that path, we have to put things in place to protect our young athletes, so that when they get to the World Games, they're not burnt out because of peaking champs, Carifta, 10 relays, national junior championship, and to couple that with CXC examinations, external examinations.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of athletes can balance the two. So it's tough.
And when you put it in that perspective, we see the amount of workload that the athletes have to carry.
Yeah, man.
And not a lot of persons would see it that way. But what should the fans expect from Champs 2021?
Well, one thing I must also say, I must commend the main sponsors, Grace, for really coming on board, because sponsors' aim is to make money. In anything that they do, if they spend money, they expect to make money. Because there won't be a spectator-based champs this year. They won't get as much money from it. Because, people would have come and spend their money, but it shows the commitment by Grace Kennedy to the development of our youth. And I must say it is great to see, because a lot of sponsors will say, hey, I'm not really benefiting from this. Why should I spend my money? But Grace Kennedy,
Right.
yeah, for years, they've said it, them preach it, say, they're about nation building, they're about youth development. So when they come on board, like they have, to just support the young athletes getting an opportunity, because the times won't be fantastic, the times won't be as you've seen in the past, and that is okay. Like I said to the young athletes all the time, don't worry about going to champs this year, to break any records, or just do your best, and as best as you can, try and finish healthy. Because it's been an abbreviated season, things are condensed. Because I went to the GC Foster meet, and athletes were running well, despite the layoff. Athletes ran personal bests, some broke records. So there's so much talent out there that naturally they're fast and they're good. It's not a case where champs comes around. There shouldn't be too much pressure, because there won't be a lot of rounds. Some of the races will be semi-final, final, or some will be straight final.
Okay.
So it's not going to be the champs of, like, say, 2013, 2014, when almost 50 records went. It really is going to be just a showcase of the talent that we have here.
You kind of segued into our other questions with regards to the participation and the records and what other things might occur, like injuries. But you said that, it's going to be like a semi-final, final thing. So we answer our next question. The National Parenting Association recently indicated that they are not really in support of hosting champs, given that the COVID numbers were rising and the vaccine was being rolled out. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think the parents have a case with regards to their concerns?
Yeah, man, the parents, of course. And my mother has expressed her own concern about it. My mother lives in Cayman, she follows sports, and she said to me, boy, she don't know how they're going to pull this off, because you can trust kids to be responsible, but you can't trust them to be responsible. But so the parents have all right to be concerned, because it is uncertain times. But what is the trade-off? These young athletes, some of them, they won't get a chance anywhere else to even for people to see them to get a scholarship to go overseas.
Right.
I tell this all the time, You see that scholarship that I got? It literally saved me from a whole heap of things. Saved my family from a whole heap of things. And I think it's a matter of them, the parents, the coaches, the administration, the student athletes, understanding what's at stake. They can choose not to participate. They can choose not to send their children. But think about what you will have to do when they have to leave school and they have to go on to tertiary education. Will you be able to afford it? Will you be able to pay for it? Because now people are saying, what's going to happen to our student athletes who leave and go overseas? They're in the NCAA. Kevona Davis, one of them. A lot of them are there. They're still competing. Kemba Nelson, they're there. They're competing. They're healthy. They're in an environment where the school can look after them. They're not their responsibility entirely of the parents. Schools have responsibility for them because they're in quote unquote first world country where they can be attended to. because them have the facilities, them have the sports doctors and nutritionists. They
Yeah.
can be attended to and looked after. So just think about what we set to gain from having them participate at champs in a safe environment, because chairman of the ISA committee, Miss Colleen Montague, they did a walkthrough earlier this week at the National Stadium, and she's indicated that there will be COVID testing for those who will participate. There will be biosecure bubbles around the corporate area for those who are going to be lodging.
Right.
Those will be in the stadium, media, officials, coaches, everybody's going to have to get COVID tested regardless of whether they're vaccinated or not. So things are being put in place. Yeah, things are being put in place to allow for one of our greatest assets, our student athletes, to get a chance, because none of them can afford university out here. Just
That's
can't.
true.
They can't.
That's true.
Like me, I try to go to school and to do my mark.
You
Rose.
need to go run again.
Yeah, we run so records, brother.
Right? And I'm a working man. I make money, and I say, boy, the money looks steep for the master. So imagine a parent or family who can't.
Who have more than one as well.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's not easy.
There are two youth championship on the calendar for later this year. The World Under-20 Youth Championship in Nairobi and Carifta Games in Bermuda. The fact that the athletes are not competing consistently, do you see this affecting the team?
My name is Julian Ford, Jamaica national sprinter, and you're watching Sports Down the Middle.
Well, I'm not sure if the Carifta Games will go ahead. I was reading something about the cases rising in Belize, because that's where the games are supposed to be hosted. I have a couple of friends there as well who they have their concerns about the games being hosted. So I'm not sure if the Carifta Games will go ahead, but the World Under-20 Games in Nairobi, Kenya, I think if things remain as they are and they continue to improve, there may be a possibility that our team will be strong enough to attend the games. In terms of getting medals, that is depending on how they perform. However meets are available for them to perform for the rest of the year, because there are development meets going on. Even today, there was one at the National Stadium East field, and we have the Eastern champs coming up, the Western champs, and then the big one, boys and girls champs. It's now a matter of how many meets will be available after the boys and girls champs till the meet in Kenya, which happens in June. So you think about May, June, July. No, it's May, June. So how many meets will they have? Because there's no pen relays, there's no Carifta games for them to get shot. So that's another concern. But I think the rest will do well for our athletes. Their bodies haven't gone through the rigors of previous years where they have track meets week in, week out, have run 2 events. Their body's getting a chance to rest. So I think if all goes well and the coaches continue to prepare them accordingly with the support of the government and the alumni and those who have a vested interest in sports, then I think we should do okay.
Right.
Okay.
You've been out there on the scene. Who should we look forward to for any of these championships?
Why? People have asked me that question already, and it's not as straightforward as years gone by. You can say this school will win and that school will win. But as it stands on the boys' side, Jamaica College, those boys look strong. They have a half miler in the form of Javon Blake. I think he ran 1:49.7 about 2 weeks ago, which would have been one of the fastest times ever going into champs at this stage. He is one to watch. I really like how he's progressed over the years. Nice fellow, quiet, very quiet, but he really gets the job done on the track. The challengers, well, defending champions Kingston College, of course, also they have a good team and they don't plan to give up the title as easily as Jamaica College would want to feel like they have it. But there are a lot of good athletes out there. The sprinters from Kingston College have been doing with their hurdlers as well. So they also in the mix. I've not seen much of Calabar, but what I really like though is the spread of the talent across the island, because I saw some good performances at the Central Championship from the likes of Roger Morris in the 200 meters. Looked good on the boys' side. Class 1, he's a national representative as well, so he'll do well. But it's going to be interesting to see who shows up because it all goes down to know because there will be COVID testing and you don't know who's going to test positive, who's going to be available because of that. So it's almost like things are still up in the air as far as that is concerned.
You haven't said anything about Wolmer's. You're waiting another 100 years.
No, almost it's a matter of just finding our own footing. A lot of things have happened in the past, in the recent seasons, where the focus hasn't been on Wolmer's winning champs, but it's almost like Wolmer's before my time, where the focus was on just getting our student athletes good performances so that they can qualify for scholarships, which they've been doing, and it's been commendable. So I'm not expecting Wolmer's to compete for a championship, but they'll have some good performances. The Class 3 boys have some good jumpers there as well, so I'm expecting them to do well. But the girls' side, Eden Allen, they look the part again. They look untouchable, unbeatable. The Clayton sisters leading the charge for them. St. Diego had some good performances at the Central Championship.
But I see Brianna Liston beating the Clayton sisters.
Yeah, but you see, Brianna Liston is very good. She's now at Hydel, so I think she may or may not have to sit out a year. I have to double check that. But she's now at Hydel, transferred from St. Diego. But the Liston sisters are good. Like, let me tell you this now, and I said this before. Of the crop of junior athletes coming up, in terms of who will make it to the next level, on the girls' side, I think those Clayton sisters are the real deal. Like, real deal, as long as they keep focused and they are managed properly, they are the real deal. But St. Diego has a lot of quality sprinters as well, high jumpers. So they'll be putting on a good show. Xavier Technical looking good at Central Championship as well in a few events. So it's something to look forward to. It's really about who is better prepared, because you could have seen evidently some of the athletes are better prepared than others, because some of them, they actually stay on campus. They lodge at school, so they've been able to train during the interruptions, and the alumnus, they've been helping to help to house them, to feed them, to take care of them. So some schools, you'll see the difference in terms of preparation and how they perform.
Okay, so we're gonna segue now to the world relays. The JAA recently announced a squad. JAAA announced a squad, and then all of a sudden you say, boy, now what that go? What are your thoughts on this?
I was asked about it earlier this week, and I said this again. If they say logistics was the issue with getting the team to the World Relays, I think it was in Poland, then you're saying to me, and it's a team of 39, all that says to me is that we probably need to start planning for the Olympics.
The Olympics now.
Because if you can't get 39 athletes to Poland, how will you guarantee getting a squad of so many athletes? Because it's not just track and field now.
Yeah.
It's you're thinking about
Olympic
swimming,
diving with Untitled Wisdom and all these people.
Curling.
So we might be in trouble.
Might be in trouble, but I've heard that it's because a few athletes had withdrawn. Few of the elite athletes had withdrawn from the pickings. So
they want to protect themselves for the Olympics.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, protect yourself in what way, because going to the World Relays will give us a chance to qualify for the relay portion of the track and field events. We don't have many chances to run relays. But we haven't qualified it. So we haven't had many chances to run relays to qualify for the Olympic Games. So any chance we get to go and just make a mark, we can make a mark. But I think because a few athletes have pulled out, the GHA said, well, they don't want to send a substandard team, but I think it was unfair for those who would have been making the team for the first time. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. They've been running well.
And if Jamaica on the date now, good nice.
But Jamaica really have a substandard team though?
Yeah, based on the numbers and those who, and I wouldn't call it substandard, it's just based on the status of the athletes who would have gone before. You're accustomed to going to World Games and winning medals. I think the athletes who would have been there for the first time at the senior level, it's a new paradigm for them. It's a new environment, but I think they should have been given a chance. Just
We
go
could
and-
have sent out some schoolboys and schoolgirls and
No,
sure would have beat some teams.
Probably not
Italy,
this year. Probably not.
France, Portugal, some European teams could have never beat the schoolboys
No.
or schoolgirls.
In years gone by, maybe, but not this season. This season, our junior athletes are, I think they're performing as junior athletes have been in years gone by. They're at a level now where they're not the world-class performances where you see a class 2 girls team running 43 seconds. You know, we don't have that this year. But I think they could have sent a team just for those who, and you don't know if they'll ever make the Olympic team because only 3 persons can make the Olympic team. So I think they should have been given a chance to go and represent Jamaica. I know we have a tough crowd in this country when it comes on to sports, but I
Yes,
think
we
they
do.
do a chance.
Yep.
Yeah, tough crowd, man. Tough crowd.
Very
Unforgiving.
Yes. So with this cancellation, as you mentioned earlier, the Olympics might be in trouble. Right? You see
Yeah,
that
if-
being an issue, a big issue?
If we don't get to planning now, we have to get cracking now in terms if logistics was an issue, which I don't think it should be because people are still traveling around the world. If logistics is the issue, you start planning from now. You don't need to know the names of the athletes on the team. You just need to know the amount of people you'll be bringing, make the calls necessary to the organizers, make the travel arrangements, and start planning from now. The Olympic Games is in, I think, August this year. We have a couple months to chart the path forward, and then we can see where we go from there.
What should we expect from this Olympics?
Hey, I think we have I think it may be good though. I think we have some good performances. Shelley, I think, is still at the top of her game. Elaine is getting back there. We have Stephanie McPherson running personal best in the 200 meters. Sharika Jackson will come along. Think about the triple jump. Right now, the world leader is Shanika Ricketts, and she jumped that way back in February. So we have quality on the women's side. Men's side, the hurdlers are there. We're deep in the hurdles. The jumps again, Kieran McLeod. Think about him doing well at NCAAs. Jordan Scott in the triple jump. Hans Parchment is coming back in the hurdles. Omar McLeod, defending champion,
Right.
has had hiccups, but still the defending champion. Class doesn't go away. No, form is temporary. Class
is permanent.
Yes, and we hear Parchment saying that he wants to leave a legacy.
Yeah, man, and Parch has been doing this for a while, you know. So I'd love to see how well he goes.
Based on that, what's the medal count?
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
About seven.
Gold?
Yeah, about 7 as it is right now. We can't count medals that we don't have, but we can just,
And you
project.
say sure at 7.
Yeah, well, I say 6. I'd be sure of 6. Yeah, 6.
Good stuff.
Yes. Extol, where can the fans find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram. I don't really use the social media thing too heavy, but Extol_official for Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. And if you go to the Smile Jamaica page, because I host the weekends my program, so I forgot to even mention that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not heavy on social media, but man, you can reach out to me. If you catch me at a good time, I'll be on WhatsApp, Instagram, chatting with people all the time and doing a couple lives and everything. But yeah, man, that's where you'll find me.
Extol, as we wrap up, is there anybody out there you want to big up? Let's just run some big up there.
Yeah, well, I want to, as I said earlier, I want to big up the Grace Kennedy family. Like, I really and truly appreciate what they need to do for our nation's athletes.
Yeah,
They've stepped up big time. I really want to commend Don Webby and his team, Angela Black, all those people who I've had to work with, because I worked at Grace Kennedy for a couple of years too now, so they're like a family to me as well. I want to say a big shout out to the Minister of Sports, Olivia Grange. I really had a chance to sit on a panel this week speaking about the mental health of athletes and how we can, prepare them for the next step. So I want to shout out to her as well, Orlando Terry Long, a part of that team. Maurice Wilson, GC Foster, they continue to create great coaches they continue to guide our young athletes. David Riley, again, a coach of mine in high school, who has done a fantastic job in preparing me for life. Without him, I don't think I'd have been as equipped as I am today. And yeah, I just want to really say thanks to Sports Down the Middle. You guys have given me a platform to speak. You've given lots of athletes a chance to speak about themselves and in ways that people would never get to hear them. Because if it's not, and the days are gone when it's just TV. That used to be planned. People are available on our sports mediums now. So you go on YouTube, you can see the different interviews. I really want to congratulate you guys for even starting this, because a lot of people start and then stop after 5 or 4 videos. But you guys are going strong, and I really hope to get a chance to come back again one day and sit down with chop it up and talk about more sports.
Yeah.
So again, big up yourself, guys. Really appreciate the opportunity and really proud of the fact that we continue to show that we have talent all over, not just in sports, but in media. We have different platforms to showcase our talents now.
Thank you. So we would like to thank Dwayne Extol for passing to Sports DTM studio. Fans out there, let us hear your comments, our views on this interview and the overall track and field atmosphere, environment at the moment. So leave those comments in the comment section below. Remember to like, share, and to subscribe. This has been another episode of Sports Down the Middle. Be blessed.
Yes.